This is Dabu 7. We've been seeing some interesting military action here as of late. It was just this past week we had witnessed a 3.9 magnitude earthquake registered off the coast of Florida as our military detonated a massive bomb near one of our ships in what they said was a test. If you've seen the footage of it, the blast was pretty wild. You have to ask yourself, why now? Why there? And is there anything else going on? Well, there's always ships going to and from Cuba, Russian ships, Chinese, trying to get as close as they can, trying to spy. I've reported on this in the past. Here recently, there was a Russian warship, a spy ship in particular, that was sitting right off the coastal waters of Hawaii. Now, Russia practices sinking an aircraft carrier just a couple dozen miles off the coast of Hawaii. I repeat, Russia just practiced sinking a warship right next to Hawaii. Okay, now the U.S. places F-22s on standby. This world is a stage. Anything that's about to happen or pop off was planned long in advance by all these powers that be. It's time you guys get hip to this and stop getting sucked into the illusion of a left-right paradigm and that this is the bad guy, that's the bad guy, boogeyman, they gotta fight. No, the world's a stage, and a lot of these world leaders are in on it. It's time you get with it and you see that. I run it down and sum it up pretty good on D-Live. Going live Monday.
Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Akakudash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect. I'm your brother Dawud from the Men of Valor Camp here in Greenville, South Carolina, coming back with another video in sincerity and in truth, the Lord willing. It can be edifying. And boy, and that's the spirit. I ain't mean to do it, but I stopped it right at 144, man. You know, the Lord is making it plain that we're in the times of the end, man. All right, but hey, Russia, Russia, Russia. I think that's what I'm going to title this video, Russia, Russia, Russia. All right. And as I've said before in many videos, and the scriptures, have plainly stated that Russia will play a major role in World War III that's fastly approaching. All right. So we got this from Dabu 7 from 7 hours ago, about a Russian warship practicing sinking a ship just 35 miles off Hawaii coast. Okay. And Russia has been doing little things like this, pretty much all year. Okay. They're that Soviet nature about them. All right. The Lord is putting that spirit back in them. All right. Which shows that the Lord moves. All right. And he rules in the kingdom of men, as the scriptures say. All right. The Lord is stirring up the ways of the Russians, man. All right, which are Edomites. All right, but like Dabu said, even if there is some shit going on in the background with Esau trying to basically control the narrative, and they might really be on sides, that might be so. All right, but the Lord is ultimately he's the ultimate puppet master. He's going to move people in the ways that he wants to be moved. He wants to move them, so to speak, so that his will can be done. All right. Yes, this has been planned out. All right. Hey, how about Shemal Shah has declared it? But I want to get this scripture real quick. In the book of Proverbs 21:1, it says, "The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will." And we bring this out. Hey, nobody has free will. Okay. Nobody on this planet Earth, all right, whether they are an Israelite or a heathen, whether they believe or they don't believe in the Heavenly Father and His Son, it does not matter. Everybody is under the authority of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Okay, everyone, including the kings of the earth. All right, and Putin would be considered one of the a king. All right, the king. He's the president, the king of Russia, so to speak. All right, but you even have oligarchs, all right, top elitists among those Russians over there, all right, among those Edomites, okay. But nonetheless, the Lord controls, all right, the spirits He controls the minds, all right, because that word heart right there is in the Hebrew is lab, which means your mind. Okay? The Lord controls the minds of these kings, man. He moves them in a way that he wants them to move. To what? Fulfill prophecy. And what's a major prophecy that's coming? Let's get this. It's a lot. This is Revelation chapter 11 and verse 14. It says the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. All right. And that second woe, all right, was going into World War II. All right, you had three woes. All right, you had the First World War. All right, the Second World War, and it says what? The third woe or the third war is coming quickly. All right, and the Second World War ended. I believe back in 1940s. All right, 1944, I believe. Okay, and hey, it's been some years. All right, but time moves a lot differently down here than it does in the spiritual world. All right, where the Heavenly Father dwells. All right, the time hasn't really, it's really been a short period of time. It might seem like a couple generations. You still have, the World War II veterans. Now they're, in their 90s, even 100. All right, but nonetheless, all right, that third world's war is coming quickly. And Russia, all right, which in the scriptures is known as Gog and Magog, plays a major role, all right, in World War III coming to a head. All right. And actually, I want to get something before that. Let's get this in Isaiah. It's a lot, because even when you think about the First World War, they started introducing tanks, all right, different biological warfare, airplanes, hey, but in World War I, they were fighting in the trenches. All right, well, and then the Second World War, all right, they went even, deeper with the technology. They were using shit like mustard gas and stuff, gas chambers for, and whatever torturing they were doing. All right, but even then they were still fighting with guns. But this third war, all right, the third World War, it's going to be fought like this. Let's get this. Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. And whenever I read that verse, you can just think about, if you watch the movie 300, all right, a hand-to-hand combat or, spear and shield. All right, a lot of noise, It says garments rolled in blood is very bloody. It's very in-your-face personal, so to speak. All right, it says for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. It says, but this, all right, what is that? That's what the third world's war that we coming into. It says, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. See, because this war is not going to be fought like the others. This is going to be with missiles. All right, this is going to be strategic strikes, airstrikes. All right, and ultimately it's going to end in what? That thermonuclear destruction. All right, which the Lord has been saving the best for last. All right, because that they call that mad destruction, mutually assured destruction, I believe. All right, where you're gonna have millions of casualties, and that's gonna be a part of that day of the Lord that's fastly approaching, and the Lord is gonna use Russia, which once again is in the scriptures is known as Gog and Magog, to be a major enemy of America, Babylon the Great. And let's go ahead and get that. Where we at? Ezekiel. This is Ezekiel 38 and 1. It says, and the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And say, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. And I will turn thee back, and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with buckler and shield, all of them handling swords. So what does the Lord say right here in verse 4? He says, I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. Okay, so, hey, Esau, those Edomite Russians over there, they had a mighty spirit about them back, during the Cold War. That was after World War II. The Soviet Union, so to speak, and America feared the Soviet Union. I don't know if you know, a lot of us are too young to even know about it. We weren't alive, but if you ask your parents' generation, even like maybe back in the 60s, 70s, in the schools they would have like these bomb, how you would have tornado drills, they would have like bomb type drills. All right, that's the fear that the Russians, the Soviets at that time, put into the hearts of the world and the Americans. Because outside of America, Russia was that other major power, but they kind of waned over the years, and the Lord kind of quieted their spirit. But now the Lord is putting the hooks into their jaws. This is the fulfillment of that. All right, hey, Russian warships or Russian ships only within 100 miles of a major American state, because Hawaii is territory of America, even though it's not part of the landmass. And I do have another video I'm going to play, but hey, they're getting very close, man. And they simulated sinking a U.S. U.S. aircraft carrier. All right, and that's war, man. That's war talk. Those are war games right there. Okay, this is the spirit that the Lord is putting back into those Russians to fulfill His will of that third world's war coming to pass, man. That's going to end in America being utterly destroyed. All right. But hey, they're not alone. They're going to have people with them, allies with them. Verse 5, Persia, Ethiopia, Libya with them. All right, and Persian is modern day Iran. Okay, you're going to have different African countries that cleave unto Russia, but you're also going to have NATO and the EU. All right, the allies of America, Babylon the Great. They're going to turn against America. Something's going to happen. The Lord is going to stir something up and make something happen to where they turn on America. All right, you got China and North Korea as well. It says all of them with shield and helmet, so they're gonna be ready to fight as well. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah and the North Quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. It says, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all the company that are assembled unto thee, and thou art a guard unto them. So Russia's gonna be basically that guard unto these smaller nations. So hey, the Lord is putting the hooks into the jaws of Gog and Magog, man. So I'm gonna play this other video and I'm gonna close it out.
Portable TV. Come watch with me.
All right, welcome back. So we often on the show cover stories about how the U.S. military is far-flung and stationed really in regions and locations all over the globe, and often conducts military drills and exercises near the shores of distant and remote countries, including some of America's adversaries. And we've often asked the question about how the U.S. government and U.S. military would feel if one of its geopolitical rivals were to do the same. Well, on that, take a look at this. That's video of the Russian Navy. I'm not sure what kind of ship that is, if it's a Russian battleship, cruiser, whatever. But anyway, Russian Navy conducting drills in the Pacific Ocean not far from Hawaii. The Russian military says it was 300 miles. The Department of Defense says satellite imagery shows in some cases, at some points, maybe 35 miles from the coast of Hawaii. So, that in mind, could this put U.S.-Russian dialogue, as we were just talking about with Farron, could it put this ongoing dialogue at risk? Well, for more on this, we go to former Naval Intelligence Officer John Jordan. So, John, I gotta say, look, I love military stuff. I know you're a military buff too. When I'm looking at the video, I'm saying, wow, that's pretty cool, man. What kind of ship is that? But maybe not so cool if you're a general at the Pentagon raising red flags about this very close to, as I mentioned, Hawaii. That said, is this just Russia flexing its military muscles and showing off, or is this something more ominous and potentially dangerous?
Both and neither, John. The fact of the matter is the Russians, believe it or not, have operated intelligence gathering assets off of the Hawaiian coast, even during the Cold War. In this case, the Russians were doing a couple of things. They wanted to test American response to a pretty large-scale Russian set of maneuvers so close to a U.S. base. The Russians want the world talking about it, and the Russians want to remind the world, and this is the really interesting part, that they, unlike China, the Russians can actually operate naval vessels on a sustained basis far from their own shores and support them with aviation assets. The Chinese can't really do that. The Chinese can't really function too far or deploy important naval assets in a militarily meaningful way more than several hundred kilometers from the Chinese coast. The Russians have made the necessary investments to do this over the last 40 or 50 years, and that's a real qualitative difference between the Russian Navy and the People's Liberation Navy, which is obviously belongs to China. So, and the Russians want us talking about it, but they're also testing America's responses and gathering electronic and signal intelligence to the extent that they're able to.
That's a great point. You know, the U.S. military did scramble, from what I understand, F-22s to basically check out what was going on. So that, you know, goes directly to your point. I'm assuming you saw this video. You saw, or at least you saw in the screen, you know, what the ships. What, I'm going to put you on the spot. What kind of ships are those? I'm just very curious. And as far as the fighter jets, is that a MiG?
Yeah, the Russians were deploying Tu-95 Bears, which are primarily an anti-submarine platform now, although they were originally designed as a nuclear-capable bomber in the 1950s. While very, very old and relatively slow, they have an extremely long range, and those airplanes, along with the MiGs, were staged out of Kamchatka. The other ships were surface warfare ships, along with underway replenishment ships, the ships that you need to support them far from a base, and they were running an exercise to see if they could attack an American carrier group. Well, while holding that issue aside for a second, they did run an exercise far from home, and that's something very few navies can do.
Final question. A MiG goes up against an F-22 in a dogfight. Who's coming home?
The F-22.
The F-22.
That's very prideful. That's Esau's pride right there, man. That's the pride. Hey, the scriptures say the pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks. See, they think that their military is going to save them. They think that, well, the Lord did bless them with the sword, man. So, of course, they have nothing else but to have faith in that sword. Have faith in that blessing. But that's very proud of them. All right, but let's see if you can stop 200 million ICBM thermonuclear missiles, Esau. All right, but Lord willing, this is edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rokak Radash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Till next time, Shalom.